There you go. Oh, are we recording?
Hello. Oh, interestingly, I do not have the option to not record this to my computer. It did not give me the option.
You
So
have. They said you have no storage. You don't even get the chance.
we're gonna we're gonna hope this video goes somewhere. And if not, then this is probably the best week to not have rankings for because it gave us nothing. So I don't even feel the need. Like, here's the recap of
There's
the
no
week.
recap.
Nora stopped playing the game. Recap done. Great. Next. I feel like we can all the interesting stuff has to do with people's gameplay for following weeks. So yeah, there's your recap. Nora stopped
Let's
playing.
get. Okay, yeah.
Let's just get into it.
I'm so excited. Okay.
Alex. Yeah, last week Alex was at fours from both of us. Here's what I will say for Alex. Up to this point, I've been saying I've been like disappointed in Alex. I'm changing my phraseology. I'm disappointed for Alex. Because truly, if he was dealing with even just like mediocre players this season, he could still be doing fine. I really like Alex is truly the best friend that someone could ask for in this game because he truly has fought tooth and nail for these people that truly just do not give a damn about him. About people who said no longer my friend in real life, and if he sends a goodbye message to me, don't send it to me. He deserves better than this, and I hope he gets a huge apology from these people after because Alex has tanked his game for nothing. He's now left with no allies, zero, because like he was in the veto competition. He was like, "Is Dan like coming after me in the competition?" Like, yeah, no shit, he is. You've been protecting people that he wants out. Like, let's use your brains, please. So and now like he's no one's it's too late now, in my opinion, to really just form a new group. You need someone that's in the existing group to go home for there to be a need to form a new group at this point. Because Alex trying to form an alliance with Dan of like a larger group is not going to change the fact that Dan is most loyal to Anthony and Cassidy right now. In order for that to change, you need one of those two people out, and then maybe you can slip in there. Until that happens, nothing's gonna work. I'm staying at my four, and I am unfortunately thinking he's lucky it's not lower.
Yeah, I'm also gonna stay at my four. Um, while he is being targeted by some people in the weeks to come, I think his bigger problem is just like he's got pretty much no one to turn to. He's pretty much all by himself. And if the main problem was he's going home immediately, I would be lowering my score right now. But I truly just think it's like he really has nowhere to go besides Caitlyn, which like
Well, that's not it. He has people. He has Caitlyn and he has Riley. But even Riley this week, like
that's
Alex,
what I'm
tell me
saying.
why. Alex wanted Nora to be in this game more than Nora wanted Nora to be in this game. Alex, tell me why, after all this planning that Riley's doing, you go, what if you just didn't nominate Nora at all, Riley? Riley immediately went to her DR and went to Dan and was like, I love Alex, but this alliance with him is going to be a huge problem if he keeps trying to protect these people.
So that's what I'm saying. She was even like, I don't know. I'm starting to see through this little thing that is going on here. And while Alex and Caitlyn are great, I don't foresee them running the game together anytime soon.
It's
So
upsetting.
so that's where I'm at with Alex right now. It is really upsetting because in the first week you said he was playing one of the best games that you've ever seen.
Truly, he was.
I
And then
know.
his friends played the worst games I've ever seen and brought him down with it because, as I said before, he threw away his lifeboat and then burned down the ship. Anyway,
Okay, graph is updated with Alex for a 4.
it's just sad. Alex has only gone his. Oh, I can't update this. So
Refresh.
the whole page,
Yeah, it's fast.
disgusting.
You've never seen me do that before? That's pretty interesting.
Great. Still
Maybe
nothing.
I have to do it. Hold on. Oh, it's there
Yeah,
for me. Yeah,
I
it's
don't
there.
have the
There we
sheet.
go.
Yep, there it is. Cool.
Yeah, I have to do it then.
Yep, not great from Alex. I'm sad more than anything for him.
Mm-hmm.
because the people in the pre-jury, and when I say the people in the pre-jury, I'm talking about Murph and Nora, have really like ruined a lot of things. Anyway, um,
Anthony.
Anthony. Okay, last week Anthony had 8s from both of us. So last week we planned out our top 6. We did both have Anthony there, but you had Anthony there over Dan. And after, I mean, now of course we know who the HOH is.
Yeah.
I will say I called this before where we saw a lot of people's. I was kind of surprised, but also not that surprised. A lot of people's diary rooms were like, Anthony's got to go.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony can't be trusted. He's clearly playing everyone. Anthony's real good at acting dumb, and he's convinced Miss Maris Meyer of a lot of things. We'll talk about Maris when we talk about Maris. But Anthony, I do not think is in nearly as good of a position
As he once was.
as he once was, for sure. So yeah.
Okay, this comment also bleeds into next week a little bit, or into this current week. What I don't like about Anthony is that he is such a great player, but when it comes time for anyone to nominate him, he's suddenly like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so bad. These people are so much better than me." Like, own up to it. Like, come on. Like, you're a good player. He's like, I don't know why they're nominating me of all people. Why aren't they nominating these people who are so much better than me? Like,
Well,
no.
he's like, look at people's records. Kristen got 3rd and K-Pop got 5th. Why aren't you nominating them? It's like, no offense, because people walked out of season 2 going, "You are the best player ever," and I love Kristen and Caitlin to death. But in the stories of Big Brother SS, yes, they're great players, but they're not great players for being the strategic legends of the season. They're great for other reasons. And people are targeting Anthony for being a strategic snake, which, oh yeah, he is. So here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
I don't, even if Anthony goes up on the block as a target this week, it's the same thing with Dan. I don't think Anthony goes home.
But we're also, yeah.
I mean, a lot has to happen in this upcoming week.
I'm trying to forget this week.
I mean, I have my scores written in my phone. So, I think a lot has to happen for Anthony to go home. But I think he's in the territory of like he can land on the block.
And still be like, as long as he's not next to the wrong person.
And I
like
think
there's
only one person that's the wrong person, and we'll get to that person. So for me, I mean, I am lowering my score. I don't think that Anthony is in as good of a position as an 8, but based off of last week, I'm only lowering it to a 7.
Interesting. Yeah, for me, it's clear. Like people have been saying, it's clear that they're seeing Anthony as this big target, which is so crazy because I feel like you're not to jump ahead to Dan, but I feel like Dan is doing more and is somehow like still surrounded. You know what I'm saying?
There's a misconception in this game that playing hard gets you evicted. That is so not the case. It's not the case in real Big Brother, and it is not the case in this Big Brother. There's a difference between playing hard and playing messy. Murph, messy. Armani, messy. Haley, messy. Dan plays hard. Dan does not play messy.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a difference.
So I'm also going down to a 7 for Anthony. Is what I was getting.
Yeah, we'll talk about Dan soon.
Where are you rankings? Oh, there you are.
Alrighty, and here's our little graph.
1 second.
What has Anthony done this season? Is Anthony the light blue line? No, he's the dark blue one. Nice. Yeah, I think this makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to who's it? Cade? Is it Cade?
Yes. So last week I was at a 2 for Cade and Steven was at a 3 for Cade.
Yeah. Basically,
listen, I said last week, I said, Cade, you are going home. And to his credit, he did not touch the block.
And he didn't play in the veto either. So like,
and he didn't play in the veto.
Credit to him.
Now let's think. What did you do this week that you have done before? Or sorry, let me start over. What did you do this week that kept you off of the block versus what you've done in the past that has put you on the block? And the answer is talking. The answer is talking, Cade. So you didn't talk a ton.
That's going to be screen recorded.
You didn't talk a ton, and that was good for you because Riley didn't feel the need to target you after your number one worry in the game was Riley. It should have been Riley. If you should have had a death sentence on anyone's HOH, it should have been Riley's, and you did not. Now, not to jump ahead into this next week, but Cade won HOH, and what is the first thing that he started doing? What is his in one word? If I had to make a word for what his plan for the week is, he's come up with a plan, and his plan for the week is
Talking.
talk. And I said no. His plan for the week is to spread misinformation that there's an old school alliance. I'm like, Cade, have you learned nothing? Anyway, we'll see how this unfolds. We're not talking about this upcoming week. We're talking about this last week. And this last week was okay. Not good, but it could have been
But
worse.
even coming out of last week, everyone was like, Kate is the next person to go.
So I'm going up to a 3.
Yeah, I'm staying at my 3. Cade was gonna be evicted this week. Like, Cade was going home this week, like this upcoming week, if he didn't win HOH.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like so. Oh my gosh. So like good for him last week, but moving forward into this week, there was like you can't really go up on that from where I was at, in my opinion. So Cade at a 3. HOH, very interesting. If there's anything that I'm learning from Cade, it's that a Cade HOH, nothing is set in stone until it is set in stone.
Until anything happens. People to look out this week. Anthony has to look out. Victoria has to look out. Caitlin has to. No, well, Caitlin, I think
safe.
Was great at safety, but
he's gonna keep his word for all the people he promised. I think so. Maris, Matthew, David, and Caitlin are all safe.
Yeah. I think Anthony has to worry the most from Cade's perspective, but from the house perspective, I think that Victoria, Kristen, and Alex have got to watch their backs.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Cassidy. Alrighty. I have to say this. Last week,
it was deserved last week.
I disagree. And it's hard to look back. I do think my ranking on Cassidy last week should have gone down, but I do think we gave Cassidy a little less credit for reasons of like, there were other things going on.
Mm-hmm.
I'll leave it at that. However,
well, that's not what I went down.
No, that wasn't why I went down either. But I feel like it was leaning into we think Cassidy thinks she has it all together, and she does not. And unfortunately, I think Cassidy has it all together. Not unfortunately, that's not
unfortunately, Cassidy.
Unfortunately for us, in the spirit of us wanting to be right.
Okay, I also want to put this on record. I am anti-Cascade. I am anti-Cascade.
I am too, but
I hate looking in that chat and reading. That's it. That's the entire sentence. I hate looking in the chat and reading.
Anyway, it was cute for a couple hours.
It's like,
now it's
we'll talk separately.
But anyway, I do think Cass really does have it all together. In all of these, this week, in terms of this week, in the game that happened this week, was stale. Nora went up, Nora said nothing, Nora went home. What it did allow for was for people to start thinking ahead. And we've heard a lot of people's plans of what they plan to do moving forward in the game. And all of it involved moving forward with Cassidy. Not only not targeting Cassidy, but like moving forward with Cassidy as a number. That's huge for her. There's one roadblock in her way, and we'll get to him next, in terms of, I think, her ability to win the season. But there's a lot that can happen between now and the final 3.
Agreed.
So I'm going back up to my score that I had before I gave her the 6, and that was an 8. So I'm giving Cassidy an 8 this week.
Okay, interesting.
I also want to put this on the record. Cassidy, although may seem cocky and has it all together, has texted in her diary room countless times and has said, I feel bad if people are taking what I'm saying personal. Like, I really love them all. Okay,
general. No, that... Okay.
I'm just going to put that on the record. Anyway, it's your turn.
Yeah. I still stand by the fact that I'm standing by my score from last week, as what it was last week. Because if Nora had followed through on her plan and Armani had not gone on the block, she would have gone home.
She would have gone home
Like,
if she used the veto on Caitlyn. But I do think if Maris is ever going to use the veto, it was going to be on Dan. And in Cassidy versus Caitlyn, Caitlyn still goes home.
so in a scenario, I feel like she was very likely to go home. She would have been likely to go home last week. And even if Nora was still in the house and if Nora still wanted to play the game, I think Nora would have been a very big proponent for wrong reasons for her to get out of the house. So that's why I feel like I was down on Cassidy last week. I do agree, however, on the fact of going back up on Cassidy because I do agree. Like people have been saying like Cassie's someone that I feel like I can keep going with in the game, and I really think that I think you're right. She is cocky, but like she has it together.
Because here's the thing about Cassidy that Cassidy is really good at. She did it in season 4, and she's doing it now, and it's really helping her to her advantage. A lot of people, when you talk to them, like for example, this is one of Alex's, I think, pitfalls, and he knows it. He said it in the beginning. But if Alex isn't with you, it's gonna take a lot for him to like really have a good game conversation with you. Cassidy can just spitball and bounce back with anyone. And then if she needs to, she'll tell other people. And if she doesn't, she'll keep it to herself. Usually tell other people. But like she's good at just like convincing you, like, oh yeah, no, great idea. She did it with Maris this week. Maris was like, Cassidy, I love you. We should like make an alliance. And Cassidy was like, yes, I love this. And Cassidy was the reason that Maris lost the veto. And Maris was like, oh my gosh, Cassidy is this bad at listening to directions. Like, clearly she's stupid. This is gonna like I'm gonna need to take the reins in this alliance. And I'm like, no, Maris, if you had 2 brain cells, you would realize that Cassidy maybe isn't working with you the most, and that it was in her best interest for you not to win the veto. We'll get to Maris when we get to Maris. I have a lot of things to say, but like Cassidy's playing it well, and like oddly, people don't see her as playing all sides. I don't think.
Yeah.
And if they do, they don't care.
While I think last week, since our last rankings, I think the game could have gone a lot differently had things happened or people played the game. But I think now that Nora, I should say her name. Now that Nora's
Yeah, why
gone,
are we beating around it? Now that Nora has decided to stop playing officially.
um, because I really think that if she stayed in the game, she could have gone to Alex. I mean, I don't.
We'll talk about Nora later.
But I'm gonna agree. I'm also gonna go back up to an 8. But I would love.
I would love for her to go home. I won't lie.
Me too. Like you can tell my score is completely independent of my personal thoughts because I would so love for her to get.
Exactly. Yeah. So for everyone, because I listen, I can predict the future. I know Murph is gonna be like, you're just a hater, Scott. I'm like, no, because I also hate Cassidy. And guess what? 8.
Okay, we don't hate Cassidy. I don't hate.
No, I love Cassidy.
Like even in the game, I don't hate her. I just like need her to get humbled real quick. Like,
yeah, I agree with that.
And I feel like the only shot that I would be okay with that side being hit with would be Cassidy. Like I don't want Dan or Anthony to go. So.
No, I want Anthony to go home. I won't lie.
No, I don't. I don't. I do not. Okay, moving. Oh wait, I have to put her score.
Cassidy and her nice purple wine.
The jump. Okay. Dan.
Alrighty.
And
I said this last week, and I said the only reason I did not have Dan at a 9 was because he was on the block. And I'm saying this week, the only reason that I don't have Dan at a 10 is because it's week 5 in the game, and that's ridiculous. But for all intensive purposes, Dan is playing a 10 game in week 5. Let's run through this. Alex wants to work with Dan. Anthony wants to work with Dan. Kate is HOH and isn't putting up Dan. Cassidy's number 1 is Dan. David made a deal with Dan. Caitlyn and Kristen are working with Dan. Maris is sucking off of Anthony, who's gonna do with Dan ones.
Who is working with Dan?
Dan. Nora doesn't want to play. Riley is working with Dan. Victoria's gonna do what Anthony says. Dan's has everyone. Dan has everyone.
It's kind of insane.
And
but the thing is, like, if If
If
I
Cade goes home next, I truly think that Dan can literally sit back and do nothing and
oh
still
wait,
win.
this should say week 4. Hold on, right? Yeah. There we go.
Well, sorry, this should say week 5. Oh, sorry, no, you're right,
Week 4.
So I mean,
Yes, it is
I
week.
just
It
give a
is.
9 right
It's
now.
week 5, so obviously that's why I'm not giving a 10. But also, I guess that's kind of included with that reasoning.
I mean,
If I
listen,
did,
I also said the main reason I'm not at a 10 is because Cade is still in the game and Cade is someone that would go after Dan. So I thought. Um, but like I truly this season, I have no problem giving a 10 at any point if someone deserves a 10.
but also at the same time, like if I had to pick a winner of the season right now, it probably would not be Dan. I would not say
No,
Dan.
I'm thinking I think you're crazy to say that you don't think Dan's making it the top 6 with this current state of the game.
Okay. Maybe I would change that, possibly.
The ending really comes down to competition wins. Of course, you know what I mean? He has to win comps.
I think people are going to start to see it eventually. I really do. Like, yes, right now, I think he's in probably the best spot you could be in the entire game. But I don't know if you want to be in the best spot in week 5.
There's a
So,
difference between being in the best spot that Dan is in and being in the best spot that Anthony is in. Because literally everyone's plans for the late game have included Dan as someone that they need.
but I know, I'm just saying, it only takes a few people to kind of talk and be like, Dan's my number 1.
I absolutely agree with that. And so far, we haven't seen that, and that's why I'm at a 9.
So for me, I
I'm
feel
not
like,
saying Dan's locked for the end. There's
so
so
sorry,
much
I'm
more.
also at a 9 this week. The reason why I would give a 10 out, and the reason why it always comes late in the game, at least from me, is because that's when you're like, if you're able to get to the end, you're winning this game. If you win, like you just need a few competition wins, something like that. Dan, like, yes, he's in the perfect spot right now. I think people will start to catch on to that around the final like 7, 8, like somewhere around there. I mean, it's final 12 right now.
Yeah,
There's so much time left,
so
even
much
before
time.
the final 8.
The
And
reason, the reason,
twists and stuff. Like next week. I mean, next week. I won't say what happens next week because there people aren't gonna. Oh yeah. Well, should I say it? Well, I'll
don't
say.
say it because things might change.
Oh, that's true. Well, no, we know what's gonna happen with the HOH next week.
I
Ooh,
think just don't say anything.
yes, this is not gonna change. This is not the thing that we talked about changing.
I let's just not say anything in case because I have ideas.
Okay.
This will happen at some point. This isn't going away.
Okay.
Yeah, I have ideas.
So I'm giving it with a 9.
For
I don't
me,
know
the
if it's
reason I'm
something.
not at a 10 is because Kate is still in the game. And so long as you have someone coming after you, you're not at a 10 for me. But like say Kate goes home, I don't care that 5 weeks down the line, people could start talking. That could happen to anyone at any point. But if Cade, let's say Cade went home this week instead, I look at this board and I go, Dan deserves a 10 for the game that he's playing. And I have no problem coming down from that 10 after it blows up in his face, which it very well could. But that's like the mindset that I'm in this season. And I'm not saying it's the mindset that you have to be in, but like
Gotcha.
that's where I'm at.
I'll think on that more, but I'm gonna stay at a 9 anyway, obviously. So
Highest score yet
okay,
this season, I think.
first 9.
Yeah. Very well deserved.
Highest score this season. Yeah, it's crazy. And Dan, coming into the season, Dan Tatey should not be in the best spot. Like that should not be what's happening, but it is because he's such a good player. So anyway,
It's amazing that after the fiasco of week 1,
yeah.
I'll say it and I'll say it again. Wick leaving the game, maybe with Dan not knowing it, was the best thing that could have happened to him.
Mm. Anyway, David was that a 5 for me?
Yes, 5 from you, 4 from me. I'm back to being unimpressed. I won't lie. I think David saw that he was in trouble, made a deal, and was like, "Great, now I'm not in trouble." No, you're still in trouble.
somehow he's making it by. So
he's making it by. Like, listen, I say he's in trouble. He made it to this point. He's probably not going home this week.
No, he's
So you
not.
gotta give him something. I will say that.
No,
But people
he
just
almost won HOH this
continuously,
week.
as soon as he like feels comfortable again, people go, David feels comfortable. This is what he wants us to feel. He has to go home. And like they're right now. Um, so like I can't praise David's gameplay. Skating by is not good gameplay. Skating by is luck that the right person hasn't won.
Yeah.
Um,
So
Statistically, David should have been gone by now. For me, I was at a 4 last week. David hasn't played bad, but he's on the again, ignoring what's happened from HOH on this week. We now know that he's safe. But there was a very good chance that David, if like Cade or David, I think were the two targets coming into this week. So I'm giving David a 3.
yeah. So I agree that I'm back to being unimpressed because his main words for the week were okay, so still Noir, right? To Anthony and to was there even anybody else? It was basically Anthony, the only person he talked to all week.
And like Cade.
Oh, still Nora? Yeah, still Nora. Okay. Um, I honestly, before we know what we know now, I don't even think I worry for David as much as some other people coming into this week.
No, I seriously were the amount of people that were like, David is all of a sudden not on anyone's mind. Are you kidding me?
But Cade is public enemy number one. Anthony's talking about K-Pow and Alex, and Anthony has a lot of pull in this game.
Yeah, but Anthony was never going after David.
That's true.
I'm just saying we saw Alex say David's being quiet again. We saw Cass and Dan say it. We saw Matthew say it. Even Riley was considering it on her HOH for like a smidgen of a second.
Um, and what I was seeing, and what I think, I don't think he was in as much danger as Cade was coming to this week. So I'm going down, but I'm only going down to a 4.
You know what? Now that I locked in my rankings before, so I'm not going to change them because I don't know if it's my bias knowing what I know now. But I think a 4 is actually very fair.
But I also think a 3 is also fair. So
alrighty, Caitlin.
wait, how do I do this? I've only done this 8 times. Okay.
This is another example of let's see this. Ooh, yay. Okay. Caitlin is another example
Caitlin is Emma
of
McIntyre.
us going like for Cassidy, we said, we hope you go home, but 8, because you're playing well. This is me going, Caitlin, I hope you stay forever and ever and ever.
But you suck.
That score. Because Caitlin.
I had the 4, or you had the 4. I had the 3.
I had the 4, you had the 3.
I had the 3, yeah.
Caitlin should worry a bit, and I don't think I don't know. She came out of last week and was like, "This was the wake up call," and I'm like, "Girl, you're still sleeping though."
You slept through it.
You slept through the alarm, Caitlin. You said snooze button.
I do think though that we could see like her actually come
Me
alive.
too, but she needs to not go home first, and that's not an impossible scenario. Again, you know now for this week she's probably good.
But also like okay, I'm going up.
I mean,
I'm going up to,
I'm saying my 4.
I'm going up to a 4 because first of all, she was nominated last week and almost going home, so that's why my score was low. But also like nothing really happened this week anyway. I feel like for her to be awake for like if there's a good week like,
that's valid.
to like sleep through, I feel like this was not a bad week to like snooze. So yeah, I'm going up to a 4. And yeah, Caitlin is at a 4.
Look at that.
It's okay. It takes like 8 years, but I'm not sharing. Okay, there we go.
Here it is. Yay.
Cool.
Okay.
Kristen.
I will say, Um, I'm trying to think through Kristen's Kristen. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say Kristen's playing a good game. I'm very happy with the way Kristen's playing. Is it flashy right now? No, it's not. Um, I do know for sure that Kristen has the ability to be a flashy player if she makes it to the end. Um, I would love for Kristen to be the one to take out Dan eventually. That would be fun. I actually, whereas if you asked me before the season, I would have said Kristen would have been mindless robot for Dan. I
We
don't
know. You
feel
said this.
I don't necessarily feel this way anymore. I feel like Kristen has now, for the first time, I'm putting this on the record confidently. I do think in season one, she didn't have her head on straight. And granted, that was because no one knew the game of Big Brother. I don't entirely blame her. Season 7, I really think she just kind of like went with the flow of what Niall and even like Jackie said. This time, I really think Kristen is here for Kristen, and she'll work with her allies and her friends until, like, she's not going to be waiting around for them to pull the knife on her. That's happened too many times. 3 to be exact. um, so I'm
season
feeling
one,
good.
seasons 1 and 7, it wasn't even her fault. She still got kicked out at the end.
Yeah, no, that's true. So like the point is, I think like Kristen on the fourth go around, I think is in the best space game wise
Mindset, yeah.
mentally that she has been. And I think she could be a dark horse again if she doesn't get taken out. She is in danger this week, and I do think she could go home. But
Danger.
not
No,
knowing,
yeah, danger.
no, I don't think
Yeah.
danger. I think
Yeah, I think danger.
Um,
I think we've been saying danger for some other people. I think danger for Kristen.
um, but again, we don't know what we know for this week yet.
Like I think
Right.
Caitlin's not really in danger this week.
I agree.
But
Um,
Kristen is like Cade's like she would be my ideal renomination. And I'm like, oh, okay.
um, yeah. So for me, I'm saying at my 6 for Kristen. I don't have any reason to lower my score. But
I'm
again,
also staying at my 6,
yeah,
but
like nothing flashy happened for me to raise it. No one talked about wanting Kristen out
nothing
at
flashy
that time.
in general. This has been like probably the blandest week in
No
this.
thanks to you, Nora. Anyway.
Oh,
Um,
actually, thanks to you.
um, yeah.
Okay.
Hey, look at that graph. So frustrating.
Okay. Matt,
Maris. Okay, I'm starting with Maris here.
go for it.
Maris Franzel. That's what I have to say. Maris Franzel.
Maris Queenal.
No. Listen,
Not yet, not
okay.
yet, not yet. That'll be next week.
Maris is playing the same game that she played in season 6. Now, I know what you may be thinking. You may be going, Scott, but Maris played a great game in season 6.
Actually, we deemed her the best to never win of season 6.
And yes, however, playing the same game with a different group of people does not always work.
And no, it rarely works,
In
actually.
season 6, she was in the majority and then became a rat to the minority and flipped it. This time, she's in the minority.
She's being a rat.
Has been scooped up by better players because newsflash, unfortunately, season 6, you aren't the brightest bulbs in the box. On the whole. Actually, I'm not sorry. Y'all were not good. I love you, Sean. I love you, Maris. Moving on. um, yeah. So that's what about season 6. In season 7, she is Pawn City, has been scooped up by the majority, and Maris is now acting as a rat, running out the minority who are trying to make a good move to benefit you. What?
Okay, we're getting ahead of
So
ourselves
that.
here. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
I do understand that Maris is working with Anthony. Sure. However, there are a couple of things where I'm like, Maris, her diary rooms are like, why isn't Cassidy listening to me? Clearly, I'm right, and this is the best for like my game. And then it says things like, if these people were smart, they would realize that Nora isn't going to do anything, and I'm doing a bunch, and they should just take me out while they have the chance. And I'm like, Maris, you're saying all these things, right? And if they were all true, they would happen. Unfortunately, Cassidy isn't with you. You aren't masterminding shit. You're a rat for the minority. And it's just like, what are you doing?
But
Here's the
also
good news for
that
her.
was
I
like
do think she'll
mainly
be carried
all
far.
this upcoming week. So
The good news for her is I do think she's now in a position where she'll be carried far. But I think her win equity is just slipping away because the majority of lines will get rid of her whenever they need to.
yeah,
So
I'm going
I'm actually
down.
very torn at where I should be right now. Because she was on the block this week, I did go back down to a 4. So that's where I'm at
Oh,
right
I
now.
thought I was at a 5.
No, I was at a 5.
Okay, then I'm staying at my 4. Um, yeah, she was on the block. She wasn't really in contention of going home, like unless something got screwed up, unless Nora won the veto, something. She was on the block. End of story.
I
She's also
also, yeah.
she's also really bad at when she gets nominated, like Anthony, two peas in a pod,
Oh my
she goes
God.
off.
For
Like,
what? I'm like, Maris, were you ever, and like, don't get me wrong, I do think Riley putting up Maris was actually not the right move for Riley. But that
but
being
also like
said,
they don't
Maris,
talk that much.
when
Like
have
what's
you ever talked and made an alliance with Riley?
like you assume because you go to the same school, like it'll carry over and you're good. Like you have to talk game a little bit here. So I don't think he should have burned that like both of them really. Riley shouldn't have put her up. And I don't think Mara should have burned that bridge with her either. Because I think it was still salvageable as long as they continue to talk a little bit more. So I'm staying on my 4.
Yeah, that's gonna be Maris's fatal flaw. Maris, I just don't think has any flexibility in the game. I think she has one flexibility card, and when she plays it, and she goes, "Yep, this is where I am for the rest of the season." And I think in season 6, she played it halfway through the jury phase and flipped the script. And I think this time she played it in week 3 and was like, "Anthony, here's my flexibility card for you." Um, because like we saw like Cade being like, "Anthony, I don't trust," and taking out Anthony for Cade would be an amazing move. And Maris is like, "This is bad," and I'm like, oh, "Okay, you're being played by him." They're like, "He's a snake," and they're like, Maris is like, "They're saying he's a snake because he's a snake and he's manipulating the shit out of you, Maris. Wake up." You're
Anyway,
like Caitlyn, you're hitting snooze on all of the alarm bells that are going off.
the
Only
alarm
this time you
bells.
hear them and you're like, "Oh, look at the pretty bells." Like you don't even realize that it's an alarm. Wake up.
Okay, graph.
Graph.
It's there.
Did it update?
Yeah, it did already.
Yeah. Rip
Cool.
Maris.
Matthew, who had the 8 last week?
I had the 8 last week. I was right.
Okay.
I'm very happy with myself.
Matthew, I think Matthew's playing amazing.
And like, listen, my score this week. I mean, spoiler alert, I'm staying at my 8.
And I'm going up to an 8. So
what we've seen now, for me, if Dan isn't going to win this game, Matthew is like the step below Dan.
that's my thing.
This is the thing that Dan has a weak spot in. I could see this happening. Dan, I think, has everyone came into this game going, Matthew's a snake. Matthew's a snake. He's gonna work with everyone. We can't trust him. And then they talk to Matthew and they go, "Oh, actually, Matthew's not so bad. I love Matthew." That's what he wants you to think. Matthew is the best at just working everybody. And listen, last week, 2 weeks ago, he was like, Cade and Nora want an alliance. Rat it out. And this week he's like, "Okay, Cade, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? I'm here for it." And I'm like,
I will say, okay, so I said Dan. If I had to choose a winner this season, it wouldn't be Dan. It could be Matthew for me. Like I might choose Matthew. The only thing is similar to Dan. I think that could come apart much sooner than Dan will. So I'm a little worried about
yeah, I
that.
was gonna say, I agree with that.
Because even like Maris sent Anthony the screenshot of the Cade, Matthew, and Maris convo, and he was like, "Oh, Matthew's in on that? Oh, Matthew, I have to keep my eye on him." So he's got his hands in a bunch of different pots, which is
This
really
is the
good for right
difference
now.
between Maris and Matthew. They both play the rat game. Maris does it and burns all bridges and then puts all her cards in one basket. Matthew does it, plays all sides, and keeps his doors wide open. That's the difference between their games.
So yes, the scores up should have updated.
Good job, Matthew. Slay Matthew. Matthew is actually, I think, the only person
to have consistently gone up
who has never gone down. Is that right?
Yeah, it looks like. Oh no, who's that dashed yellow line? Oh, Riley.
Riley. Slay girl. Slay girl slay.
Haley. All right, moving on.
Okay. I'll start here. Nora. Last week, I felt myself holding back because I felt bad. Unfortunately, I don't feel bad anymore. Nora, I'm going off of my perceptions. I have not heard these words come out of Nora's mouth, so I will not say that Nora said this. However, this week and last week, her little 12-hour fit of passion against Dan did not convince me. This week confirmed for me that Nora was only here to help Murph win the game that he deserved to win last time, and that's the only reason she was here. She did not come to play for herself.
That's literally what I said week one. That's what I said.
Her sole goal was to get Murph to win. Murph went home 3 weeks ago because he sucked. And now Nora played a pity party and is like, people are being mean to me. People betray. It's like, newsflash, girl, it's Big Brother. No one has said anything mean personally. Not a one. So if you're butthurt about it, newsflash, you're a sore loser. I'm over it. It's this, like first of all, and we'll talk. I mean, we won't talk about other people. I don't need to air people's dirty laundry, but there are other people that did not play the game. Let's see if people connect the dots that maybe could have and joined the season and down. Like, I don't want to throw this around lightly. I feel disrespected. I feel very disrespected. And I don't mean to put myself up on a pedestal like that, but let's take a look at someone like Nora versus Victoria. Victoria, someone that is she playing any game right now? No, she's not. But listen, if there's one thing about Victoria, it's that she wants to be here. That is the baseline. Show us that we said coming into the season, we don't want anyone to feel overwhelmed. If you can't play that hard because of work, because of life, because of whatever, that's fine. What we didn't say was we're asking back the best of the best for you to just outright not want to play. If you didn't want to play, tell us that. This is my official apology to Jackie Berry and Mikey because they should have been in the spot over Nora. They wanted to play. They should have been here, and they would have done a hell of a lot more for the season. 1.
Yeah, I'm absolutely going to a 1-2.
I hope, listen, and like Nora and Murph, as friends, as people, I still love and adore you. But I hope that you see this and you don't go like, Scott and Steven are haters. They hate us. No, we don't hate you. But like literally what you've done this season is just be sore losers and then not want to play the game when other people really wanted to be here. It's disrespectful. And I'm over it. I don't want to see either of you back play the game. And I hope that's that. Sorry.
It's so it's so frustrating.
Not only that, sorry, one more thing. Not only that, but you have your actual friends in the game, like Alex, who has died on his sword for you, practically. He hasn't been out of the game yet, but like he tanked his game for you. And for you to say, if Alex sends in a goodbye message, I don't want to see it. Shut up. Are you kidding me? That is so petty. You are such a sore loser. I hope you get over that.
Not to mention that he's also been saying he's hurt that like
Alex is hurt that Nora's just ignored him. She's like, I'm above this game. That's what it seems like. I'm over it. Like, I've never actually been this upset with 2 people in the game, Nora and Murph, that being, for just how sore losers they've been. No one in this game deserves anything. Everyone that's doing well worked in to get there. And if you want to come back and say, like you're saying now, oh, there's just a big alliance of people that are friends in real life.
There's literally not.
Newsflash. Cassidy knew no one coming into this game. She is an 8. Matthew knew none of the old school players coming into this game. He's at an 8. Dan was the biggest target in season 5 and was a huge target coming into the season. He's at a 9. They all worked to get here and they played hard, and you played messy and you went home and you're upset by that. I'm
I mean, I
done.
said it week one. I said that's why I gave her the score that I did week one, and I took it back in the following weeks. I said that
Like I'm actually just mad at them.
she was only here for a month. Me too.
Oh, you cut
You're good. I
out.
can hear you. Yeah, I can
Okay.
hear you. It's frustrating the amount of like I think most people wouldn't believe how much time we put into this. And it's
When people ask to leave the game and we say no because we put in 3, 4 months of preparation for this and literally like 10 hours a day sometimes, that's not us exaggerating. That is not an exaggeration. So when you say you want to leave because Murph went home and you're not having fun anymore, I have no sympathy.
I feel terrible. Like honestly, I feel terrible for Jackie.
I feel horrible for Jackie. I feel horrible for Annie fucking Merkins, who would have
Yeah.
done a better job this season.
It's so like honestly, it feels like an attack on us. Like I'm like I don't even want to.
Did y'all really think that Murph deserved to win season 7 that badly that you wanted to come into the season and just hand him the game? That's not even fun. Like, what was your goal to get out of the season? Look, Murph won and I helped him do it. Whoop de dee. Did you think that we were gonna love that? No.
I'm just annoyed. Because I completely agree with the Victoria statement. Victoria and like pretty much everybody else here always goes like, "Oh, thank you guys. Like, thanks so much." Like, I like being respected when I'm doing like. It just feels like disrespectful.
Victoria literally has been working 12-hour shifts. She's been able to participate in maybe 3% of the game. But guess what? Victoria consistently is like, votes on time, shows that she wants to be here, is glad to be back after 2 years. And you know what? I have absolutely not a care in the world that Victoria isn't playing the most right now because Victoria is happy to be here playing the game. That's all that we asked for. And Nora had no intention of doing that this season, I think. And or at least if she did, she's shown none of it to us, and we need an explanation as to what happened then.
I
So
mean, we know what happened. I don't need an explanation. I actually like don't want to hear about it ever again, to be really honest.
yeah, I don't want them calling back to us after the season, seeing this, and either hearing no, you're wrong, or hearing like, oh, we're sorry. Like I don't want to hear it. I'm done. I'm done with them
It's so
and the
frustrating.
game.
I really wish that after Murph was gone, she would have stepped it up and been like, okay,
Because
this is
here's the thing, she had the ability to. She had the ability to. Dan outright said, I kept Nora around because I know Nora is the one that I can rationalize and work with. And Murph went home. Nora went on a 20-minute revenge tour and then said no words and asked to leave the game because she felt personally attacked by people betraying Murph. But you had no problem doing it in season 7.
anyway. I
I
feel
have
like
nothing else to say.
I needed that space to vent, and I'm it might come back later, but
I don't care if it does.
I don't care
Like y'all did this. I'm open to
because
listening.
I wish I could say a lot of things to a lot of people, and saying it pre-recorded on camera is easier. So,
Yeah.
um, anyway,
Let's talk about someone that I love and adore now. Riley McGee. Slay girl slay. Listen.
well,
Well, so I mean, here's the thing. Taking out Nora this week, great for Riley. Fantastic. Do I think it should have been Nora and Kate on the block? Yeah. Um, yeah,
also I
I
want to
do.
see the frog get nominated, but that's why I
Um,
wasn't like.
I don't think, unfortunately, I don't think Riley knew how like upset Maris gets if she gets put in the block. Um, so like that was an obstacle that like she didn't really know. Overall though, no one's despite the fact that she won HOH and veto, Maris is the only one that's out on a revenge tour for Riley.
Mhm.
Everyone else is like, okay, Maris,
Oh,
you
she's fine.
go shout in your little corner, come back to us once you're cooled down, okay? Um, so I still don't think that Riley has a reason to worry. I still think that she's good. The one thing that I will say, last week in my rankings, I was like, Riley may seem really nice on the outside, but she's ready with that knife and she will stab you. And this week I go, okay, maybe Riley wants to hold the knife, but like she picks it up and then starts crying and is like, I'm sorry. Like I think that's more the right analogy. Um, so I actually like I do think that Riley's a very smart player. I do have a little concern for her in terms of being able to slash people later. But you know what? That's a problem for later. That's a problem for later. I still think she's okay now. I last week I was really close to going up to a 7 and I didn't. This week I'm not close to going up to a 7, but I am still sitting comfortably at my 6.
I'm actually gonna stay at my 7. Because I look at this board and you're exactly right. Maris go scream in your corner for a little bit and you'll tire yourself
Yeah,
out.
and you're talking yourself out. Yeah.
Um
There's like a puppy dog. Like, okay, go bark, bark, bark.
oh,
Come inside after you feed on the lawn. Like, come on. I don't know. I'm tired.
um I think she's playing a great game.
She's playing so
Um
well.
and also like for someone that coming into it, we were like, we don't really know how this is gonna go. And now she's like such like she's so good at playing under the radar. Nobody is like suspecting her. Um, I still completely stand by the fact that she's in my top 6 for sure.
I'm also living. You know who strategized with Riley the most this week? It wasn't Alex. It wasn't Dan. It was Matthew. Riley and Matthew, I listen, as much as I want the Dan figure name to like win this season, if that doesn't happen, and also I'm not here for a Dan steamroll to the end. Riley and Matthew are my picks to like, yeah, that's right. Okay. Slash through the weeds. Let's do it. Come
The
on.
two like the two names that like weren't really like names, you know? Like I feel like
let's be clear. Matthew was a name, and Matthew is amazing at slipping back under the radar. Riley, people forgot about. We're like, oh, she got third place. Like, no, Riley did some stuff for season.
I wouldn't even say like if I had to pick like the top 3 names from season 7, I don't even know if I would say Matthew, if I'm being really honest. If I did pick
Are you taking Lily out of it? Because I would say
no, I would say I wasn't taking Lily out of it.
okay. Well, for me, the top 3 names from season 7 are Lily, Niall, and Nora.
That's what I would say.
But if you take Lily out of it, I think Matthew is for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
And I also don't think. I mean, I'll also put this on the record. I don't want people to take that and be like, "Oh, Niall was asked over Matthew." Or now I feel like I've said a lot. We wanted Matthew was asked to be on the season for.
Matthew was primarily asked to be on this.
Yes, exactly.
First.
Yes.
Okay. So 6.5. I I think Riley's destined to make another deep run in this game.
I hope so. I would love to see it.
And she's like just like in how season 5 was, amidst all the toxicity and the rudeness, we had an amazing, genuine, like kind winner and runner up too. I like
And here's the good news. All of the negative party pooper pants are out of the game now. And if it's up to me, will not be returning.
what is up to you. So well,
It is up to me. They're not coming back. We'll figure out the details later. Shall we move on?
No, not after you do the graph.
Oh, graph. Graph. Okay, Riley McGee and Matthew being the only people to never have their score lowered.
They're both nominated and they're both evicted next week.
I would be so sad. I would cry.
And let's move on to Victoria. We've already said so much about Victoria.
Yeah, Victoria, I really don't have anything else to say. Listen, Victoria, again, she's another person like I am so happy that Victoria is back on the scene. I don't have like truly, I came into the season going, if people can't play the most, that's okay. I really just want this group of people here playing. And Victoria is really the epitome of that. Here she can't play at all. But I still love Victoria. From a game perspective, though, whereas in the beginning of the game, you can coast on not playing a ton and being in the majority. It's caught up with her. It's caught up with her. Victoria's in trouble. I'm now on this train where there's a reason now where like the world of 5s for me is almost gone. You're either sitting pretty playing a solid game at a 6, or you're in a little bit of hot water at a 4.
Mm-hmm.
And Victoria's now in that little bit of hot water at a 4 for me. So that's where I'm at with Victoria. I think
And even
Victoria is another person that is like Kristen. She doesn't need to worry this week. She needs to worry this week.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, like I think most of anybody she needs to work this week.
yes, I agree.
I could see the final nominees being Victoria and Kristen, to be honest. Um,
Um, why is Jackie in the Master Max chat?
Probably because she was added to the FaceTime and she got added to
Oh,
the
she
it.
just was.
Um, Jackie played this season more than Nora did, I think, actually.
Yeah, good job, Jackie. We'll put you in the episodes instead of Nora.
Put Jackie's face in here. Give her a ranking.
Literally, can we just do the episodes and anytime Nora's name gets mentioned, it just says Jackie? Also,
No, because
listen,
then we would slander her too
not
much.
to jump back on the old news, but I'm gonna do it. I'm sorry. I am laughing so hard. So hard. The Vibe 5 sucked.
Possibly the
Haley,
worst alliance.
Murph,
Oh,
Armani, Nora, and I hope not Alex, but right now, Alex, my God, name a worse alliance. Anyway, that's just funny to me. Y'all really blew it. And
well,
here's the other thing. Sorry, I'm in a negative mood right now, so I'm a rant. Y'all in the pre-jury right now are, and by y'all in the pre-jury, I mean Murph, are like, is it the big alliance that's picking all of us off of people that are already friends? No. The Vibe 5 was the biggest alliance in the game. The next biggest alliance is 4 people, and the next biggest alliance is actually doing things is 3. Get over yourself. You played bad. Now you're out because of it. There's no big alliance running things.
that's
You
the
just
first thing
made
I'm going to
yourself
say when the
target.
season ends. That's the first thing I'm saying when the season ends. They're not probably not going to be at the finale, but I'm going to text them individually and say, "You sucked. There was no alliance running this season, as far as right now." So,
Yeah.
anyway, back to Victoria. Um, Last week I went up to a 5 for her because I'm about to say something really mean, but I'll say it in a nicer way. She
Didn't mindlessly listen to Anthony.
showed some game competence, is what I was. That's my nice version. My mean version was used one of her brain cells. Victoria, I love you so much. So, but she did not do that this week. So I'm going back down to a 4. And also, like, she, like, there's nowhere for her to go either. Like, that's where I'm going to go for.
I mean, listen, there's plenty of places for her to go. She's just not gonna go.
She's not going.
She has 99 roads in front of her, and she says, I'm gonna keep my car parked. That's what
She says, I'm going to go to work. Okay.
So wait, where are you at for Vic?
Oh, 4, sorry. Wow, we agreed a lot this week. I think this might be the most we've agreed so far.
Yeah. I'm really excited for the game moving forward now. I truthfully listen, I really do hate to harp down on this, but with Nora still in the game was going nowhere. This had to be, I think, possibly top 5 most boring weeks in the history of the game because Nora just didn't do anyone the respect of actually wanting to play. Um, so yeah.
So that's it.
Here's Bestie Graph. And here's Bestie scores. Dan, as to be expected and as deserved, top of the pack. Cassidy is his right hand partner, and Matthew's the under the radar player. Anthony and Riley, Anthony's starting to be targeted. Riley's on the up and up, I think. A very exciting group of top 5 players. Down on the bottom, Nora, girl bye. We've said enough.
What if I gave Nora a 10 and her average was a 5? That would, or would be it would be a 6. It would be a 5.5. But
I'm just gonna ignore you. And Cade is at a 3, which is the next lowest. Interestingly, Cade won HOH. I'm so excited to see what Cade does, and I hope Maris doesn't fuck it up for him.
we shall see.
Maris, literally be more like Matthew. Be more like Matthew. And yes, push for Anthony to stay. I agree with this. Sorry, wait, real fast. Back to Maris. I do agree. Maris should not want Anthony out. Maris should not be ratting all of the information and sending screenshots to Anthony. That's the part that I'm upset by. There's a difference between.
Yes, there is. There is a difference. Yes, there is. It is 1:30 in the morning.
And that's why I think that Maris is being a bad
So-
rat and Matthew's being a good rat. Yes. Anyway. Now that's it.
That's the end of the rankings.
That's the end of the rankings. In conclusion, goodbye. Oh, I hit stop recording.